When I say grapple or grapple, whatever, the
Yeah.
grapple,
Yeah.
it wasn't grapple?
No, I did not see any reports of any grapple. There's
Come
none
on.
of that was actually reported. I know.
Hey, what is grapple?
Well, well, there's definitely a difference. Basically, you're going to get the precipitation that kind of forms over the snowflake itself. But today we had a little bit of snow. In fact, Jim Gardner in Bob Mills Sky News 9, he actually saw some snow. I know it's really hard to see in this picture, but Jim saw it, and I trust Jim with everything. So he had a little bit of that, and obviously a little bit of fog as well. And of course, we had the sleet that was coming down. Let's go ahead and go to Links 1, and Next Live is completely different now. It's pretty quiet, but looking off to the north in parts of Grant and Kay County, we do have just a few sprinkles left, and you can see that moving just east of Bremen and Blackwell and staying basically north of Ponca City. But we ended up with about 15/100ths of an inch in Oklahoma City, and a lot of that, the heaviest of the rain and sleet, basically fell along I-44, and then of course in far southeast Oklahoma. So today's the last day of February. We ended up with 1.25, actually below average for the month. But as far as snow is concerned, 3.2. We ended up with a trace of snow officially here in Oklahoma City. Temperatures did make it into the upper 40s. That was just before noon, and then after that, everything kind of fell apart. Mid-50s across the Northeast, not quite there anymore. This is our Integris camera, but over Lucky Star Skycam network, we're at 36 degrees. We also have a south-southeast wind at 8 miles an hour, making it feel more like 30 degrees. We're at 36 in Chandler, 38 in Piedmont, 37 degrees right now and more. We have lots of mid and upper 30s across north, some low 30s still showing up across the far west with that wind coming in out of the southeast between about 5 to 15, but we are still seeing some wind gusts as high as around 20 or so out to the west, and that's where your wind chills are also going to be a little bit lower, so it feels more like the mid and upper 20s, but it also feels like the upper 20s in Oklahoma City, but still holding on to the 30s across the eastern half of the state. So this storm system, it's going to move on overnight tonight. Eventually, we're going to clear out. Tomorrow, we're expecting lots of sunshine, and then this weekend, it's going to be much better. In fact, it's going to be a lot warmer. Tomorrow, we're going to end up in the 60s, and that's mild, but I wouldn't necessarily say that's going to be very warm tomorrow afternoon. Saturday and Sunday, though, that's going to be different. Temperatures will be back in the 70s and 80s. The wind's going to be cranking up, though, and unfortunately, it's going to be so dry, especially in western Oklahoma, that the fire threat, that's going to be a concern again for the weekend. As we get into Monday, here comes our next storm system, but for now, it's looking weaker and weaker, at least for Oklahoma. I do expect to see at least a slight chance of rain in basically along and east of I-35, but temperatures behind the cold front that will come through sometime on Monday, they will go down, but it's not going to be terribly cold. It's going to stay mild. We're going to go from the 70s and 80s down to the 60s. By the time we get to about Thursday now, here comes another storm system, and that one will bring another chance of rain and storms, and that one, at least at this point, looks like it's going to give a much better chance of widespread precipitation. And then by that following weekend, now we're looking around March 9th, we're going to have another weak wave move in. We'll see what that does, but it certainly does look a little bit cooler in behind it. Tonight, temperatures dropping down into the low 30s, so about 31 here in Oklahoma City, 34 though in Guthrie, 30 in Piedmont, 29 in El Reno, 33 in Ponca City, the low 30s in the southwest, but about 28 degrees tomorrow morning in Clinton. Tomorrow afternoon, low 60s, 62 in Shawnee, 62 in Norman, 63 in Mustang, and 63 tomorrow afternoon in Yukon. The low 60s across the north, but mid and upper 60s will be possible again across the southwest. Saturday afternoon, now it's looking warmer, mid and upper 70s, but it's also going to be a strong south wind, especially in western Oklahoma. So the fire danger, that's going to be another threat as we get into Saturday and Sunday. In fact, it looks like the wind gusts are actually going to start to go up maybe a little bit more in western Oklahoma. Dry line's going to be there, so we're talking about relative humidity down into the teens, but 81 in Enid, 80 here in Oklahoma City, 82 in Lawton, 80 in Hobart, and 81 Sunday afternoon in Altus. Cold front comes through sometime during the day on Monday. We're going to actually fine-tune that as we get a little bit closer. That's going to kind of go back and forth for a while, but right now it still looks like we should hit in the mid-70s. Behind it, though, only dropping down into the mid-60s by Tuesday with more chances of rain later in the week. Carl, back to you.